Hi, this is Jochen Siegmann, author of The Property Apprentice, How to Earn While You Learn. And today I'm gonna talk about how you can make inflation work for you instead of against you. So let me give you a little bit of background to that. What is inflation? Inflation simply means that prices of goods or services that you buy get more expensive. And what effect does that have for people normally? Well, of course it means that your money gets worth less. If you have $100, today maybe you can buy a $100 product for it, but if you have 10% inflation rate, let's say, then the same product in a year from now is gonna cost $110, and with $100 you cannot buy it anymore. So either you have to earn more or whatever else, but in order to be able to still afford this product, you have to have 10% more money in your pocket, right? And therefore inflation devalues the money. So if you have savings in the bank, and let's say an interest rate in Singapore in a bank deposit, currently we get maybe a 1%, if you're lucky, that is. In Europe, so the same, maybe in US dollars slightly more, but not really much also, let's say 2%, right? So you think you make 2%. For $100 you have, you get measly $2 interest at the end of the year. And but if your inflation rate is 3%, and that's not even considering that you have to pay tax potentially on the interest you get, if you have 3% inflation, you actually lose money by saving, right? So that's what most people do, unfortunately. They put money in the bank and they lose money, but they don't even realize it, because whatever interest you get gets eaten away by inflation. If you have $100 and you get 2% interest, at the end of the year you have $102, but a product that cost $100 at the time when you put in your deposit costs $110 now, so you can't afford to buy it anymore. Isn't it scary? But that's what happens in real life. That's what the economy does and what inflation does for you. Or rather, it works against you in this case. But how can you make it work for you instead, you might be asking? Well, it's actually pretty simple. Inflation devalues only monetary assets. That's physical cash, bank deposits, whatever you have as money investment. However, if you talk about real investments, which is property or gold, silver, like anything that is physical asset, that is real, doesn't get affected by inflation. In fact, because it is real, the prices will rise. In general, of course, there's no guarantee and there's fluctuations here and there, small disclaimer. But in general, if inflation rate is high, then the commodity prices and the property prices also increase accordingly. So that's one advantage for you if you have real assets compared to financial assets. But the second way how you can really make inflation work for you is not to buy this property with cash, but to leverage it, which I have explained in another video blog post before, how to leverage, which means simply you don't pay in cash for full. You maybe only make a, let's say, 25% down payment and 75% you loan from the bank. So what effect does that have for you in terms of inflation? Now let's say the property that you're buying costs 100,000, just to make it easy for calculation's sake, and you pay 25,000 down and you loan 75,000. Now, at the same inflation rate, these 75,000, because of the inflation, the money gets worth less. Your debts also get worth less accordingly, right? The 75,000 in a year from now, if you have 10% inflation rate, what I mentioned just now, assuming these are worth $7,500 less. Your deposit is $7,500 less, but your debts is also $7,500 worth less. So the longer this goes on, your asset price rises and your value of your debts goes down. And in a couple of years from now, these 75,000 debts are worth maybe only half of the time when you borrowed the money, and it'll be much easier to pay them back with your rental or selling the property or from your business or job income. So this is how you can make inflation work for you. Consider it. Don't over leverage, don't get into too much debt. Make sure you only get into good debt that makes you money, that gives a positive cash flow. But as long as it gives a positive cash flow, terminal inflation, having that works for you, nothing to be scared of. If you need more information, contact me, read my book, attend my courses, just get financially educated, and you can also make inflation work for you. Thank you.